Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. This is Hejin Lee with a morning update for Bitcoin. And I've had a lot of trouble with my video recordings with Cam Studio today. This is now my third round of recording, and the first two times the file just got corrupted. So I'm just going to rush through this a little bit. The first one was the best, but I'll still get most of the gist of it in ASAP. So I'm going to start. This is for now my third time of starting. I feel like I'm in the Matrix with a deja vu. Third time cleaning up the whole chart and relabeling, restarting it. And I'd actually restart with this only because it just allows some better aha moments to be had. Discernments of patterns and counts that I may not have seen or thought about before. And having the prior labelings and removing them prevents me from preconception or preconceived patterns and counts. So I'm going to do a overall count right now for the Bitcoin. Instead of this 3, I'm going to make 3 here. Okay. And this wave itself, you might be wondering why isn't this 3 and 4? Well, 1 and 2, this is now just wave 3 by itself, standalone. So let me show you the count for that. It is 1, 2, this is a triangle, 3, 4, 5. Move everything out here. Reduce the degree of trend for this to micro, make it blue. This time will elapse. Raise to 5. There you go. And if this is correct, then what I need to do is look for some patterns. So here's a triangle pattern here. And this is wave 2, befitting of a triangle. And this clearly to me is an ABCDE triangle. ABCDE. And that has a bullish outcome result of upside. Look what happened. Last night I had put this as an ABC. You have to understand that there are 36 combinations as one possibility. And this is one of 36. So that leaves you what? Less than 3% chance of getting a correction count right. And the odds are pretty slim on that. So having said that, I never trade corrections. I stand aside. I take my profits, or I just leave it alone. Because if this is subway, I'm looking for more in higher degree wave 3, 4, 5, this trend. I might get out here a little bit, buy back a little bit. Okay? But if this is one ABC count, but instead price decided to morph into something else, and the other possibility is this is ABC, here's A, ABC, B, and you get another lower low down here this way. That's another one of the 36. Now I've covered 2 out of 36 possibilities of a correction. But my primary really has to do with seeing if I can draw some lines here, like that, and draw a line here. Okay. Oops. And just like ABCD here, I think there could be another ABCDE triangle potential here, A, B, C, D, and this might drag on down to here. And the wave 4 will be there. Now, some of the eliticians will say, stop, what about the rule of alternation between 2 and 4? Well, you got to remember that the rule of alternation was primarily defined using equity-based personality traits of stocks and some commodities. And as I've shown quite often, the cryptos are not, they do not possess the exact same personality with regards to Elliott waves as stocks and equities. So in this case, I'm just going to let this go. I'm going to see it more as a fractal, and that's a very strong personality trait, common trait for cryptos. So this triangle, a little more horizontal, more than anything, but still A, B, C, D, E, can be seen as a fractal of this. And we know what happened. It broke out. So I think on this one also, we can count this as that possibility, like this. Okay. And I'm going to raise this to 10,600. Bring it down to the prior fall level here like this. And that makes it fractal upside break. That's what I envision from a price discernment pathway point of view, and this would be my primary count. A, B, C, D, E. Let's see what happens throughout the day. It should bottom and complete maybe in the late afternoon, early evening, and overnight we might see some upsides. Okay, now let's look at BCH. I want to do a big, quick assessment of Bitcoin Cash. Now, during this process, Bitcoin Cash was inverse to Bitcoin. And a lot of stories came out as to why collusion between in China and the miners, Roger Ver story, the CMEs and whatever. All those are good news and events. I know, but in my opinion, none of them are more upstream or equal to that of technical analysis, because since the day we were born to this physical world, we have experienced and lived in an environment that is very Newtonian based, cause and reaction. And it'll be very difficult for us to physically and conceptually to release that grasp of understanding, especially to say that prices in stocks are not driven by news and events, but rather sentiment. And in my opinion, technical analysis analysis measures the price, which is a direct and the closest reflection of sentiment, more upstream than news and events and fundamentals. News, events, and fundamentals are also reflections of sentiment. However, they are more downstream from technical analysis. Therefore, technical analysis more upstream, therefore more predictive. That's why Elliott Wave states that news or events, which are downstream of technical analysis and your projections, will arrive to justify your projections, never the reverse. Okay, because time is linear. Okay, now that's why I say instead of a Newtonian event, technical analysis is more of a quantum event. Okay, it doesn't go from price to news and events causing price. No, price causes news and events. And that's very hard to understand. Many will vehemently argue against that and give us much evidence possible to argue against it. But the only way to really want for one to believe, because I was there myself, is to see this experience. So once you gain some proficiency in counting and start making your own projections, and you see suddenly that news arrives to justify your forecast, you'll become a true believer. It has to come experientially on that. No other way. So here we saw Bitcoin being inverse to, Bitcoin Cash acting inversely to Bitcoin. I've already discussed several times about the phasic and non-phasic relationship between cryptos, and the relationship that we are seeing right now with Bitcoin Cash and Bitcoin is exactly the alternation of phasic and non-phasic. The best analogy, and I've given this before, is when you're sitting at a traffic light and you got two cars ahead of you turning left with their blinkers on. Their blinking lights would be out of sync, but then soon as you stare at it, they become synchronized. They blink on and off together, and then slowly they go off sync again. And that's really the relationship that you're really seeing here between Bitcoin Cash and Bitcoin. But in each, when it's out of sync, when it's inverse, it's funny how the news and events try to justify that. And my projection is I think maybe Bitcoin will go up, Bitcoin Cash will go up, and I'm curious what the news and events and stories will come out to justify that. It will be very interesting. So I think that's probably what could happen. It is probable, in my opinion, that the cycles will overlap and become in phase, therefore become phasic, as I often refer it. For the new followers, please go to the end of any of my blogs and review the tutorials, especially the laddering technique, combined with when to buy and how to sell. And here I gave an example of real-time example of laddering. And I had it just earlier. So here's a ladder that I used exactly in that video. Look, 1, 2, 3, 4 rungs are filled. 1, 2, 3, 4 rungs are now profitable. Bam. Versus someone who struts in, spies everything, all that $1.59, 1,000 coins, all the empties his wallet out, confident as hell, but sure enough, price goes lower than his buying point. He goes, yeah, no problem. Goes a little lower, I can take that. Then keeps going lower, and you're thinking, you feel the burn. You're feeling the roasting. Then it keeps going lower than that, and you're thinking, now you're mentally calculating, and you pull out the calculator and calculate how much money you've lost, paper loss-wise. Doesn't feel good. Then it goes further lower than that, and keeps going lower, and you're thinking, maybe I made a mistake. Maybe this is really going to go down. What if it goes down to like under $1? You start fantasizing on how much money, how much more you can lose. And it goes even lower than that. And you're thinking, oh, geez, now it's painful. Now you feel not the burn, but the sting of a potential mistake that you made. And you're thinking, and the price goes down even lower. And you think, oh, shit, I can't take this anymore. Sell. Sure enough, price goes right back up. That is investing and trading from a position of emotion, weakness, no strategy or tactic, and confusion. Shooting from the hips, hoping to hit a profit. Going by pure instinct and gut. Sure way to bring your account to near zero. That's happened to me when I started out. I know, I've told you, the best value I can offer are my failures and the lessons I've learned from my failures. Now let's take this ladder. Okay, got filled here. Let's say the price kept going down. I got these ladders filled, kept going down. I have a ladder at 148 coming down. Let's say fills it. Yep, baby, filled at 148. I'm getting a much better price than that. And it keeps going up and down, and then it drifts lower and lower. And I'm watching it going closer to my 139. A rung on the buy rung. And then it triggers and like, yeah, baby, fill that. Got it at a much better price. And then you're thinking, I hope I can get it at $1.21. I wish that $1.21 gets filled, goes lower, because I'm going to get a really good price on that. And there's a major support here. It'll probably turn there. And it goes down, sure enough, you fill it and you think, damn it, that's great. I got a really nice buy. Now you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 rungs filled. That kind of a psychological and emotional stance is that of confidence. Notice how it's very different than the instance I gave you earlier when you just bought everything at one single transaction. That was buyer's remorse, position of weakness and confusion. What I've just given you is position of strength and knowledge and confidence. I thought it was weird that I'm getting happy to see my lower rungs getting filled because the price was going lower. Now I understand why. This technique removes emotion, removes the buyer's remorse, and the opposite, seller's remorse. Very, very, very powerful. It'll make you rich when applied correctly with discipline. Go and read and listen to this, please. All the tutorials, and buy the books. Without these 2 books, you will go nowhere. You must buy the books. So I almost spoke through this without taking hardly any breath. It was my 3rd time around. I'm going to post this as a separate blog, and hopefully it can reach you in time. And if you have any questions, let me know as always. And And as I always say at the end, I hope I have earned the right for your consideration for an upvote, re-steam, and follow. A lot more to come. And as always, I wish you all massive, massive profits. Have a great weekend.